Hi everybody. As you may or may not know, I completed my personal exercise goal for the summer last Thursday by riding my bike 100 miles. It was actually 106.3 miles from the house where I'm staying in Blackwood down to Atlantic City to the Taj Mahal, turned around and came back 106.3 miles. I know you're saying, Burnett, you look awful calm about that. And I do, but inside I really feel like this. Yeah, wow, yeah, woohoo! Let me explain to you about some of the stuff that happened during that day. I left a little later than I wanted to. It was around 9 o'clock in the morning when I left. It was kind of misty out. It wasn't so foggy, but it looked like it had rained the night before and everything was kind of wet, but it hadn't really rained. It just was wet. 2.5 miles into the trip, I'm on a busy section of highway trying to pay attention to traffic, and I was passing a Burger King on the right, and there was a teenage boy out in front of the store standing at the curb, and he just extended his hand out to me and offered me a high five. So as I was riding by, I got to give him a high five and thought, well, that's a good way to start the ride, 2.5 miles in. Somebody just offering me a anonymous high five. So thanks to that guy. He doesn't know how much he encouraged me, but it was cool. What I really tried to do with this, you know, from all the training and all the practice runs and all the 30-mile rides and the 50-mile rides and the 60-mile rides, I'm always looking at the time. I'm always looking at the speed. I'm always looking at when I'm going to get done, how fast I'm going. And, you know, when I post on Facebook, it's always about the numbers. It's 30 miles tonight in an hour and a half or whatever, and how many calories and all that. I decided that early on in this ride that I couldn't do this for 100 miles. I couldn't do that for 100 miles. It would have drove me crazy. So what I did was I just relaxed and enjoyed the ride. I set a comfortable pace out in the beginning. I didn't want to push it. As long as my legs were moving, I was doing good. I was still averaging, at that time, 14.4 miles an hour. I ended up at 14.2. So it was a pretty steady pace the whole way. It was easy in the beginning. The first 30 miles was a breeze. The first 50 miles, not so bad. You know, 53 miles and I was down to Atlantic City to the turnaround point. I will tell you that at about 48 miles, something like that, I did fall off the bike. I was on the side of the highway and I got squeezed by a car, and I saw something on the road. I thought it was like a pile of sand or something. Well, it turned out to be like a lump of concrete that apparently a concrete truck had just dumped there. It was a little spot, maybe about that big around, on the road and stuck to the curb, like somebody just plopped wet concrete there. I hit it. The tire went into the curb. I pulled it back out of the curb. It went back into the curb. I jumped the curb with the front tire. The back tire wouldn't come up, and I went over the side. And, well, hold on a second, and I'll show you something. See this? This is why it's important to wear a helmet. I fell off to the side, to my right side. My handlebar dug into the dirt. I came down hard on my shoulder and whacked my head on the ground. I don't know if you can see that, but whacked my head on the ground enough that I cracked the foam on my helmet here. Took a pretty good shot. My little mirror here, my rear view mirror for traffic that I use, this thing actually popped off and I had to go find it. You can probably see it better here. See that split there? Yeah, that's it. Well, anyway, good thing my head is hard. And while I was looking for the little mirror, a car pulled over, and the guy actually was going in traffic the other way, found a way around the concrete median, turned around, came back with his girlfriend and asked me if I was okay. They thought the car had hit me. And I told them, no, it was just me. You know, it was mostly me, and I just had lost control, and everything was fine, and I thanked them. The one thing I wanted to make sure of was that I kept stopping for snacks, because I think that 78 miles I did last week beat me up really bad, because I hadn't slept well the night before. I hadn't eaten well that day. I hadn't even eaten well the night before. I wasn't fueled up. I wasn't rested. I was fighting winds. It really beat the heck out of me. And that kind of made me scared for the 100 miles. It really did. But I stopped periodically, even when I didn't think I needed to either have a cheese stick. I think altogether on this ride, I ate a turkey sandwich on whole wheat, a cheese stick of pepper jack cheese, 2 peanut butter crackers, and some cashews. And I had a calcium chew while I was out there too. Drank a lot of water, made sure I was hydrated before I left, made sure I stayed hydrated. It's kind of rough because I was drinking coffee in the morning, and then I had a cup of hot tea I took on the bike with me along with my hydration pack, so I had 2 liters of water on my back. So that being said, I think that really helped me out a lot, just making sure that I had the fuel for my body and that I was stopping periodically to make sure that I didn't run out of energy, because I'm telling you, on the way back it wasn't even really that bad. 60 miles, my knee started hurting, my left knee started hurting, and my right foot started hurting. So which leg are you going to favor at which time? You got a right foot and a left knee. My back started getting stiff from, you know, just sitting on the bike and leaning over the bike the whole time. At about 80 miles, fatigue starts to set in, and it got really tough. I didn't post a whole lot of stuff on Facebook on my trip back, because I thought this is the time I'm going to be able to make up some ground. You know, stop fooling around, stopping to take a picture and posting it and all that. Just keep pedaling, because, you know, I had to race the sun home. Like I said, sunset was at 6:20. I got home around 6 o'clock. So, and it was a cloudy day all day. I wasn't sure how dark it was going to get, how fast. But we made it home in time. So, yeah. So at about 80, I really started getting tired. By the time I hit 98, maybe, or around 100, I was back in traffic again. Because the way the ride went, it was like starting in traffic, a lot of countryside, back into the traffic in Atlantic City, Pleasantville, Mays Landing, all those areas down there, which was about the last 15 miles into Atlantic City is traffic. Hit that coming back, a lot more countryside, and then the last 4 miles maybe is traffic. I was more concerned on the way back with the traffic, because, you know, after 100 miles you're tired and you don't want to miss something. You know, you got to keep an eye out for these cars. And God forbid, you know, they try and keep an eye out for you. It's a lot easier for you to see them than it is for them to see you sometimes. So you really have to be careful. And so I knew I was going to be tired. I knew I was going to be worn out, but I knew I was going to have to pay attention, at least to get me through some of the heavy traffic areas. Making the goal and reaching the goal were so freeing. It was like being held together in chains and then busted loose out of the chains. It really was. And I'm sure, you know, I haven't busted loose from all my chains. I busted a link off, but it was cool. It was really freeing, and it was like, if I can do this, what else can I do? And I guess I'll explore that more in the future. And I'll see you all later. I gotta go. Phone's ringing. Bye.